If you've been paying attention to the real estate market lately, you've probably noticed something shocking. Home prices have gone absolutely insane. I'm talking life-changing, dream-crushing levels of expensive. In the last 4 years alone, median home prices across America jumped 45%. But here's the thing most people don't understand. This didn't happen by accident. There are real, concrete reasons why your dream home now costs twice as much as it did 5 years ago. And today, I'm exposing all of them. Let me paint you a picture of how bad this has actually gotten. In 2020, the median home price in America was around $320,000. Fast forward to 2024, and that same median price is now sitting at $465,000. That's not a gradual climb. That's a spike. That's the kind of increase that makes families go from thinking, maybe we can buy next year, to, we're probably never going to own a home. And it's not just the national average. Look at major metropolitan areas. In San Francisco, the median home price cracked $1.4 million. New York City, over $1.1 million. Los Angeles, $850,000. Even smaller cities that used to be affordable are now pricing out entire generations of first-time buyers. Here's what makes this even crazier. Mortgage rates have jumped too. Back in 2021, you could get a 30-year mortgage for 2.7%. Today, try 6.5 to 7%. For the average buyer, that difference means an extra $300 to $400 in monthly payments on the same home. It's enough to push millions of people out of the market entirely. And the most frustrating part? Real estate experts aren't predicting prices will come down. They're predicting they'll keep going up, which means if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for a crash, you might be waiting forever. So what's actually causing this? That's what we're breaking down today. And trust me, it's more complex and more predictable than you probably think. Here's the #1 culprit. There simply aren't enough homes for sale. Let me explain how bad this actually is. Right now, America has less than 3 months of housing inventory. In a normal, healthy market, you need between 5 and 7 months of inventory. 3 months means sellers have all the power. Buyers are desperate. And when buyers are desperate, prices skyrocket. Why is inventory so low? Multiple reasons. First, back in 2008, the housing crisis destroyed millions of lives. Builders stopped building. For almost a decade, new construction basically flatlined. Then, in 2012, 2013, 2014, people were still scared to buy. Even when the economy recovered, builders had a massive backlog of demand to catch up with. But here's where it gets interesting. Many homeowners who did buy during the recovery locked in those ultra-low 2 to 3% mortgage rates from 2021. So even though they might want to move to a bigger house or relocate for a job, they can't. Because if they sell their home and need to get a new mortgage at 6.5%, their monthly payments would literally double. So they're stuck. They're staying in homes that don't fit their needs anymore just to keep those low rates. This creates a domino effect. People aren't selling. New inventory dries up. Prices go up because there's nowhere else to buy. And the few homes that hit the market sell in hours, not months. The shocking part? It would take building 1.8 million new homes just to get back to a healthy inventory level. We're nowhere near that. We're building around 1.2 million homes per year, and demand keeps outpacing supply. So until something massive changes, expect this problem to stick around. Even if builders wanted to solve this problem tomorrow, they'd face another massive obstacle. It now costs way more to build a home than it used to. Construction costs have skyrocketed. Lumber prices, which spiked during COVID, stabilized a bit but never came back down to pre-pandemic levels. Steel costs more. Concrete costs more. Drywall costs more. Everything that goes into building a home is more expensive than it was 5 years ago. But the real killer is labor. The construction industry has a serious shortage of skilled workers. Electricians, plumbers, framers, concrete specialists. There aren't enough of them. This is partly because during the 2008 crisis, millions of construction workers left the industry permanently. They moved into other jobs, retired, or just gave up. Training new workers takes years, and the wages, while good, still don't always attract enough people to fill the gap. Here's the real-world impact. In 2015, building a home cost around $240,000 on average. By 2024, that same home costs around $360,000 to build. That's a 50% increase in just 9 years. And here's the kicker. Builders aren't pocketing all that extra money as profit. They're paying it to suppliers, subcontractors, and the few workers they can actually find. So when a builder can spend $360,000 to build a home, and people are desperate to buy anything, why would they build affordable housing? They'd rather build higher-end properties where they can capture more of that increased value. This pushes out affordable housing options completely. This is why new construction isn't solving the problem. Builders can't build homes fast enough, and the homes they do build are too expensive for average buyers. You're trapped in a cycle where supply can't catch demand, and the supply that does exist is priced out of reach for millions of people. Now here's the third reason, and it's all about demand exceeding supply. From 2020 to 2021, the Federal Reserve kept interest rates at historic lows. We're talking near 0%. But because of the pandemic, the economy was collapsing and the Fed needed to stimulate it. One way to do that was to make borrowing money incredibly cheap, and it worked. People started buying homes like crazy. A lot of people who thought they'd have to rent forever suddenly realized they could afford a mortgage. Millennials who'd been waiting for prices to crash finally jumped in. Investors realized real estate was hot and started buying multiple properties. Demand exploded. From 2020 to 2021 alone, home sales increased 20%. But here's the problem. Supply didn't increase 20%. Supply barely increased at all. So you had all this new demand chasing the same limited pool of homes. Prices went up. The Fed finally raised rates in 2022, going from near 0 to 4 to 5%. That was supposed to cool demand and let supply catch up. But here's what actually happened. The damage was already done. Prices had shot up so much that even with higher rates, demand is still higher than supply in most markets. Plus, there's the psychological effect. When people see prices rising, they panic buy. They think, if I don't buy now, I'll never be able to afford a home. So instead of cooling demand, higher rates actually intensified it because people were afraid of being priced out completely. And remember those homeowners with 2 to 3% mortgage rates? They're not selling. So new inventory doesn't increase. Demand stays high. Prices stay high. It's a vicious cycle that's incredibly hard to break. So here's the bottom line. U.S. home prices are high because of 3 intersecting crises. Supply is crippled by low inventory and builders who can't build fast enough or cheap enough. Labor shortages and rising construction costs are making new homes expensive. And demand exploded because of low interest rates and people's fear of being priced out forever. What does this actually mean for your life? For most people under 40, it means homeownership is harder than it was for previous generations. First-time buyer age has climbed to an average of 33 years old. 30 years ago, it was 25. That's 8 fewer years of building equity, 8 fewer years of building wealth through real estate. For renters, it means landlords are charging more because home prices are up. For people who own homes, it means your property value has likely jumped, which is great if you're selling, but terrible if you're trying to move to a different area without dramatically upgrading your lifestyle. Looking ahead to 2025, don't expect prices to crash. Most experts predict continued slow increases because the fundamental problem, not enough homes, hasn't been solved. Some policy changes could help, like zoning reform to allow more housing or tax incentives for builders to construct affordable units. But those changes take years to implement. The truth is, home prices are high because of real economic factors, not market manipulation. Understanding why helps you make smarter decisions about whether and when to buy. Because the real tragedy isn't that homes are expensive, it's that millions of people don't understand why they're expensive, so they make decisions based on fear instead of facts. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into how the economy actually works. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you currently trying to buy a home? What's been your biggest frustration? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.